The rain poured steadily on the rooftop of the orphanage that cold November night when Ava arrived. She was 7 years old, barefoot, drenched, and trembling, both from the cold and from the realization that the people she had called Mom and Dad were never coming back. They had left her there with a promise, "We'll be back soon. Just wait here a little." But as hours turned into days, and days bled into weeks, the truth crept into her heart like a shadow: she had been abandoned. The other children whispered behind her back, "She's the one whose parents left her on the steps." The staff pitied her. But Ava didn't cry. Not at first. For weeks, she would sit by the window, clutching a torn photo of her family, waiting for headlights to appear in the driveway. But they never came. Eventually, even hope felt like a betrayal. One night, she tucked the photo under her mattress, turned away from the window, and whispered to herself, "If they don't want me, I'll still want me." That was the night she decided she would rise. The early struggle life in the orphanage was hard. The food was never enough, clothes were shared, and birthdays were forgotten. Some children became bullies to survive. Others became invisible. Ava chose something different. She became determined. She cleaned more than anyone. She studied harder. While others were distracted by hopelessness, Ava devoured books. She found refuge in fiction, stories of brave heroines and survivors. But most of all, she fell in love with words. Writing became her escape, her therapy, her quiet rebellion against a world that had tried to forget her. One day, while dusting the office shelves, Ava found an old typewriter in a box. It was broken, but she cleaned it anyway. Over time, she began writing short stories on scraps of paper she'd collect after class. She wrote about girls who lost everything but discovered strength in the wreckage. She wrote about heroes who didn't have swords, but had scars. She was writing her own healing. At age 15, she submitted a story anonymously to a youth writing contest held by a national magazine. She didn't expect anything. She just wanted her voice to exist somewhere, even if just in the slush pile. 3 months later, the orphanage received a call: Ava had won first prize. A door opens. The prize was modest, a scholarship to a summer writing camp and her story published in the magazine, but for Ava, it was the first time the world had said, "We see you." It changed her. She stopped walking with her head down. She started believing her story wasn't over. At writing camp, she met other dreamers, other misfits. For the first time, she wasn't the girl who got left behind. She was the girl who told unforgettable stories. Her counselors noticed her gift and encouraged her to apply for schools that once felt out of reach. Despite having no family to help her through the application process, Ava applied to 12 colleges. She wrote essays with raw honesty. She shared her truth, not for sympathy, but to show her strength. She ended one of her essays with the line, "I was abandoned, but I never abandoned myself." She got accepted into 4 universities. And with scholarships, financial aid, and a part-time job cleaning campus offices, she enrolled in one of the top liberal arts colleges in the country. The Breaking Point College was not easy. Ava struggled with anxiety, self-doubt, and loneliness. While her peers had homes to return to during holidays, she stayed on campus, working to afford books and housing. She avoided questions about family. She kept her pain quiet, wrapped under layers of polite smiles. One winter, everything collapsed. She failed an exam. Her boss at the library cut her hours. Her bank account dropped to $12.34. That night, she sat in the campus laundry room with her knees pulled to her chest, surrounded by the hum of spinning dryers, and cried harder than she had in years. But even in that moment of despair, something inside her whispered, "You've come too far to break now." She got up, dried her tears, and made a new plan. Ava began freelancing. She wrote articles, edited resumes, and even ghostwrote blog posts for local entrepreneurs. She slept little, worked constantly, and slowly, the weight on her shoulders began to lighten. Turning the pain into power. By the time Ava graduated, she had a portfolio full of published work, a website, and a small but loyal online following of readers who connected with her authenticity. She didn't take the traditional route. Instead of working for a company, Ava launched her own digital storytelling platform called Rise Anyway. It began as a blog, a space for stories of resilience, written by people who had risen from abandonment, poverty, trauma, and rejection. She shared her own story first. It went viral within days. Thousands of messages flooded her inbox. People from all walks of life, abuse survivors, war refugees, addicts in recovery, wrote to say her words made them feel seen. Ava realized she wasn't just healing herself anymore. She was healing others. She turned the blog into a global movement. She built an online community, hosted writing workshops for at-risk youth, partnered with nonprofits. Eventually, she published a memoir titled She Was Abandoned But Chose to Rise Anyway. It became a bestseller. The full circle. One fall morning, now in her 30s, Ava stood on a stage at a major women's conference. The crowd was silent as she told her story. From the night she was left on those orphanage steps to the day she opened the door of her own publishing company. She ended her talk with this: pain is real. Abandonment is a wound that doesn't just scar, it speaks. But we get to choose what it says. I chose to let mine say this: you can leave me, but you cannot define me. You can forget me, but I will remember who I am. I will rise, not for revenge, not for applause, but because there is someone out there watching, waiting to see if it's possible. I want to show them, it is. The standing ovation echoed like thunder. Epilogue: her legacy. Ava never met her parents again. She didn't need to. She stopped chasing those who walked away and started walking toward those who needed her light. Her foundation, Rise Anyway, now funds education for orphaned and abandoned girls across multiple countries. She mentors young women who were once told they'd never amount to anything. And on the walls of her foundation's main office, etched in bold letters, are the words she whispered to herself on that rainy night so long ago: if they don't want me, I'll still want me. Because Ava learned something that changed everything: sometimes the ones who rise the highest are the ones the world thought would never stand.